Let's move into the final segment of our Mock Draft 4.0. If you love the mock drafts, give us a like. Don't forget to subscribe as well. We hit 10K, but we're not trying to stop, so let's keep that rolling.
We're
let's keep
cruising.
the ball going.
We're cruising.
Let's try to go 15 before the draft even starts.
But the kind of
set it big.
The kind of cruising that I like, not like what my mom used to say when we were younger. We're not cruising for a bruising here, guys. We're cruising for more subs.
All right, you're a dork. Anyways,
That's just me though.
The mom quotes.
Cruising for a bruising. Cruise us through your 21 through 30.
Well, starting at 21, the Jazz going with Jonte Porter. Just talked about him in the last segment. I got him going to the Jazz at 21. Then the Wolves at 22 going Gary Trent Jr., the guard from the Duke Blue Devils. Then my Bulls at 23 going Chicago's own Lincolnshire born. He's going Jalen Brunson, the guard from Villanova, to the Shy. Then the Trailblazers at 24 going Jacob Evans, the guard forward from Cincinnati. Then at 25, LA going to take a kid from LA, Aaron Holiday, guard from UCLA. Then Larry Shamet, right? Saying that right?
Landry Shamet.
Shamet? I thought it was Shamet. I thought we were saying
We
it
will
wrong
wreck his
before.
name one way or the other.
I didn't get Shamet. I probably said
Cover
it
our
wrong.
bases.
Guard from Wichita State. Then the Celtics going KBD, just giving the initials there. Bates Diop from Ohio State. Then Shake Milton going to the Warriors at 28.
It's Shamet.
29.
Shamet.
Shamet. That's right. Then Brandon McCoy going to the Nets at 29. And then just because he declared today, he said he's coming to the draft, he's going to the Hawks. Mo Wagner, the forward or center from Michigan.
Scumbag. So at 21, I got the
Whoa, remember, this was stated early, Dave hates Mo Wagner.
Yeah.
Were you calling Mo Wagner a scumbag or
Yes.
Ricky a scumbag
Mo
for putting him at 30?
He got a second round count anyway. It doesn't matter. At 21.
Fringe one, too.
At 21.
Mo Wagner is like our biggest fan. I don't know if you know that. He follows us on Twitter.
He
Hey,
loves us.
remember, friend of the show,
does.
Mo Hurst from
Yep.
Michigan.
He does. Yeah,
That's fine.
Mo Hurst is
That's fine.
we actually interviewed him.
Yep.
I literally just picked him
Friend of
out
the show.
during the championship game.
That one's not a joke.
21, I've got the Jazz going Brandon McCoy. At 22, I've got the Wolves going Troy Brown, somebody who's really dropped off a lot of people's maps. 23, I've got the Bulls going Kyrie Thomas. At 24, I've got the Trailblazers going with Landry Shamet. At 25, I've got the Lakers going Lonnie Walker. Fell really hard in mine, just kind of the way things worked out. 26, I've got the Sixers going Jacob Evans, the wing out of Cincinnati. 27, the Celtics, and true to form, taking DeAnthony Melton, someone who I've had them mocked, I think, since 1.0. 28, I've got the Warriors going for their shooter on the outside, Gary Trent Jr. 29, the Nets taking DeAndre Hunter out of Virginia. And 30, the Hawks taking Eli Okubo, international player.
I literally just switched up my mock draft, so let's give you the fresh 21 through 30. At 21, the Jazz going with Killian Tilly from Gonzaga. 22, the Wolves going with Mitchell Robinson from high school. 23, the Bulls going with Kyrie Thomas. 24, the Trailblazers going with Bruce Brown. 25, the Lakers going with Brandon McCoy. 26, the 76ers going with Josh Okogie. Number 27, the Celtics going with D'Anthony Melton. 28, the Warriors going with Troy Brown. 29, the Nets going with Keita Bates-Diop from Ohio State. And 30, the Atlanta Hawks going with Jalen Brunson. I switched up Troy Brown and Gary Trent Jr. Gary Trent Jr. is a great shooter. Let's not get that wrong.
That's about it.
I thought
That's
you had Grayson Allen in here at the end.
He
I
literally changed it as I was
swapped it
talking.
3 different times.
Okay.
So I had Gary Trent Jr. there.
Kind of like my
Grayson
playoff
Allen.
predictions. I kept swapping them.
Throwing in Troy Brown there because, again, I think Dave kind of swung me over. Troy Brown, we'll get to him, but fell off a little bit, but he's still got a lot of potential. We're talking about 3 teams, though, and we're talking about 25, 26, and 27. The Lakers, 76ers, and Celtics. Let's start off with the Lakers at 25. I have them going with Brandon McCoy. Ricky, you have them going with Aaron Holiday. And Dave, you have them going with Lonnie Walker. So, real quick, did I mention that, did I do my 11 through 20 for the first? Did I go through my 11 through 20? Because I don't remember saying Aaron Holiday's name. Because Aaron Holiday was a guy I had to go in at 16 to the Suns because he's a guy that...
You know what? I don't think you did.
No,
did
he did
you?
because he talked about he did because he mentioned Melvin Frazier. I thought
I did, but I don't remember saying Aaron Holiday's name. So, anyways,
You did because after you said Indiana Pacers, Dave looked at me and said, or Ricky would say, Indianapolis Pacers.
yes, they've been renamed.
anyways,
did.
with Aaron Holiday though, I have him going at 16 just because they need a point guard. The Suns need a point guard. He's the best point guard on the board. I really like that he fell this far though to the Lakers, and a guy at 25. I think this is more of his talent range, and I think this is where more likely he'll go. But talking about point guards are a need for the Suns. That's why they have him going at 16. But how do you think he fits in with the Lakers?
Well, for me, it would be obviously backup role because the point guard right now is Lonzo. But Lonzo was hurt this year. He's not going to be on the floor the whole time. You need someone to back him up. So having that backup point guard will help. Also, the thing that's great about the Lakers is they're in a position to where let's just take they can go strict BPA in my mind to where it's like we've already got Ingram, the progression that he had this year. If he shows that next year, he can boost himself up into being I don't want to say all-star, but that almost that level kind of a player. If we see the Magic telling Lonzo this is going to be the biggest summer of his life, or has to be, his improvement can make the team better to where if they just bring the BPA for them, and for me that's Aaron Holiday, with a little bit of what they need, because obviously there's no center here that would go to them.
Now, that's one thing that I want to bring up, is you both have them going with guards. They have Josh Hart, Lonzo Ball. They might even be bringing back IT. Yeah. So what's the process of getting back IT? They've mentioned that they are.
They've mentioned it, but I don't think they are.
If the free agent market really isn't there, he's already used to the team.
He could be on a prove-it budget.
Yeah, I mean, if they give him a prove-it contract, you might have 3 guards already there. So you have them going with guards, both of you. I mean, Dave, are you worried about maybe clogging it up and not going away with a need in a center?
Again, there's no center there, so you'd be reaching if you go center unless some fall happened in the draft. At which case, if there
unless you go Mo Wagner.
But you wouldn't, because you need a defensive center, and that's the problem. I've got them going Lonnie because I think he's a guy who needs some time to develop. Like we talked about earlier, Ricky mentioned this is more of a raw talent guy. He got there because of his physicals, because of what he can potentially do. Obviously didn't have the best season this year, but at the same time, injuries all around, so it happens. I think he can kind of sit because I like Josh Hart. I like Lonzo. I think that those two guys are going to be great going forward. My big question is, Lonnie's a guy who doesn't need to prove it day one, can grow, but I like the Aaron Holiday fit as a backup point guard because I think Little Holiday is probably going to be a great backup point guard. I'm just going for a guy who maybe has higher potential than that right now in my mind because I think Lonzo is locked in as your point guard for the next decade in my mind.
Yeah, for sure. The one thing though with that is it's a pretty big fall for him.
Yeah.
So I mean, Lonnie Walker going that low. I mean,
he could go anywhere from honestly the Suns at 16 down to here. This is the last team I had him going with. The Suns I went with. We're not going to miss on our 4-5. That's they need to lock that in for me. After that, the Spurs could take him 100% time to develop, no problem. Hawks could take him. They've got 18 picks, doesn't matter. Pacers was questionable because of the playing time needed. And then obviously the Bulls was the team where I wanted to take him. I really badly wanted to take him. But I held myself back because I was like, no, I like Kyrie Thomas. I sold myself on it. I'm just wondering if Lonnie Walker is going to be one of those guys who athletically is there, but doesn't put it together on the court. And honestly, I've got that gut feeling that he won't. And that's why I'm like, look, he's got potential because he has the physicals. But at the end of the day, I don't know that I see a great NBA player there. I don't know that I see a starter in the NBA. With him being, when he gets to 24, 25, 26 in his prime, I don't know that he will ever be a starter.
Yeah, I mean, that's a big question. And I totally don't... I see where you're coming from, but again, looking at Lonnie Walker and what he can bring to a team, I think that he can totally be someone that could end up being a starter in the NBA. I'm looking at my mock draft. Did I put Lonnie Walker at all? I didn't put Lonnie Walker in my draft.
Yeah, someone who haven't fallen off the board completely.
I didn't know that.
Talking shit about me.
No, you didn't.
I would have put him in there. Son of a bitch, guys.
I also made a mistake in mine, too. You know who I forgot to put in my first round just to put him in?
Chimezima too.
No, not
because you always put him in there.
No.
Even though he's totally not going to get drafted.
LiAngelo Ball. LiAngelo Ball.
At 30, you're going to have him go. That's right. Or no, to the Lakers. Shit. You're right.
Yeah.
Lakers at 25. LiAngelo Ball. Just write it in there.
Shit.
Get the crayons out.
Lonnie Walker's Lonnie Walker's a top 20
You gonna make an edit right now to your mock draft?
No, it's
locked in.
With.
Yep.
I'll just make sure I'm not an idiot.
That's what you get for changing your drafts 6 times while we're still talking
That's
out
what
loud.
Happened.
You're not gonna do the Colin Cowherd special of wait guys, I just changed it. Put the graphic up. It's just changed.
It's not a mock draft. It's my mocked draft.
His is a problem. His is a problem because he said he's not a mock draft guy. I think he said 19.
Yeah.
Anyways, I have him going with Brandon McCoy. Brandon McCoy, a little bit of a reach here, especially if Lonnie Walker's on the fucking board. But Brandon McCoy, defensive center, 7'1",
You
pretty
can always
athletic
change
kid.
it.
He's very raw. We already went through it. All right, come on. But Brandon McCoy, long kid. I think that he's very raw. But they developed raw guys before. I think they have the time and the timeline to develop a raw kid. 7'1", big kid, could possibly turn into a
they land
defender.
free agents, and then they're a championship contender next year.
That's true. Brandon McCoy will be like a 13th guy, or he'll be in the G League. So there you go. But I think Brandon McCoy, with his measurables, I think he could be an interesting prospect that people might jump out on. Let's go to 26 76ers. Again, back in the discussion, and we talked about where could they possibly be going here. We all have them going guard, though, because earlier we had them going all forwards. So looking at this, again, we kind of talked about outside shooting. Was that the idea here?
Well, the way I was going was I had you take my best big available at 10, take the best guard available, hit your front court, back court, and then you're set going into the second round.
Yeah, for me, it was just go for your defensive wing. I mean, you can never have enough wings. If Houston has taught us anything, it's build around a bunch of guys who can play multiple roles for you, and that's exactly what Jacob Evans can do for you. He can stretch the floor. He's very good with steals. I mean, he's decent all around. It's just one of those things where he's just one of those perfect role players.
I still can't believe I left Lonnie Walker on my board.
Sean's going to be like a Lonnie Walker mock here as well.
The 76ers would love Lonnie Walker
I think
as well.
They would.
I have him going Josh Okogie from Georgia Tech. Very long kid, very nice wingspan. Looks to be a great athlete, could be a decent shooter. We talked about, going with Miles Bridges at 10, could be a guy that could back up Rocco at the 2 here. Josh Okogie could be a nice player, could add some defense to this team, be a nice shooter, possibly be a backup to JJ Redick if they re-sign him. And maybe they need him to step up and play some decent minutes. I think that he can be a guy that can really step in and be a pretty decent role player for them. I don't know if he'll ever take that next step, but again, we're talking about the Sixers here. They don't need you to take that next step because they already have their future 5. And this kid, nearing in 20 years old, was a sophomore for Georgia Tech. I really liked his mentality out there when watching him. So Josh Okogie, I think, is a really nice fit there. For the 76ers at 26. Let's wrap it up with the Celtics at 27. Again, I'll go in defense. I'll go in. Dave and I have him going D'Anthony Melton, and Ricky, you have him going Keita Bates-Diop. My thought was just looking at Marcus Smart's expiring contract. You probably need a backup there. D'Anthony Melton kind of fits a very similar role.
Yeah, I think that he's a guy who can walk in the door. The problem is he hasn't been playing basketball this year, so
that's true.
He's got to get in basketball shape. The upside is that this is a team that has a shit ton of talent coming back to them next year because they will be healthy. We assume they will be healthy. So he's not a guy who has to step in and play immediately unless we have the weirdest catastrophe ever where the Celtics lose their top 5 players in back-to-back years. So he's got time to develop. He'll be in a great system under a great coach, and he can come in and play a small role and really exceed at that one defensive specialization.
Mine was easy. It's what I've said for the Celtics for some time. Can you block shots? Can you rebound the basketball? More so rebound the basketball, which Bates-Diop can do. That's who we're going to go with. They need a big. They need to help out their bigs because, they've added Brown and Tatum in recent drafts. They've got Kyrie. Hopefully Hayward coming back, the 2 injured guys. They need to address that front court. They need to do it, especially here with this draft pick.
Bates, he's 6'7", so he's not a massive guy.
No, he's not massive, but can you play good defense down low and grab rebounds?
But do you think he could be comfortable at the 4 in the NBA? Because I feel like he might be more of another wing.
To me, it was based on how everything came out. It was Bates-Diop, McCoy, Wagner. I'm going with Bates-Diop over the other 2. Although I kind of do like Wagner over McCoy. That might flip in my next mock draft that we do.
Yeah. I think the Celtics. I think they're looking guard. Or at least maybe a little bit bigger, but. Again, Bates-Diop is probably the best player on the board, so I see where you're coming from there.
Unless they magically get the 2 or the 3 in the lottery, and then they can go with a Bagley or
don't you put that
Jaren Jackson.
Don't you put that on me.
Real quick, since we had a markdown, if they get a 2 or 3 pick, and let's say Ayton's off the board, they have Bagley, Josh Jackson, Mo Bamba. Who are they going with?
I had him go with Bagley in our 1.0.
Josh Jackson
Jr.
Jaren Jackson.
Jaron Jackson.
Jesus Christ. This is what happens when you record for like 4 straight hours.
It's horrible.
And
we still got another
more
thing to do.
We
Anyways,
got that NFL one to do.
let's wrap it up. All right, let's talk about the guys that we really are interested. Dave, throw out Troy Brown.
This is a guy who last year really impressed people coming in as a super young talent. He's kind of the he's a passing wing. I want to say like he's got good handles, good court vision, not excellent. He's not going to walk in and try to be like LeBron James by any means, but he is a good passing wing out there. He can take shots. He can lead a team. And honestly, I think the problem is he wasn't as successful this year. So you didn't hear the name come up. It wasn't flashy. It wasn't anything special. But I think still he's a well-rounded player and definitely worth the take.
Ricky, you have one player out there you want to talk about. I'm going to your Bulls.
Dude, I had to have Jalen Brunson go because this is a guy to me. I know he's not going to be like, the starting point guard of a team, but he could be a guy that adds to a team in some way. Like the leadership that he brought to Villanova, the kind of player he is both on and off, even when he was sitting on the bench in the national championship game because he racked up some fouls and got pulled out. He's a guy that I would really, if Kyrie Thomas is off the board like he was on mine, I wouldn't mind the Bulls reaching a little bit to go ahead and take him at 23.
The guy I had that I was going to be talking about was Josh Okogie, but we already talked about him a little bit. So I'm just going to take a couple minutes here to apologize to Lonnie Walker for leaving you off my mock draft. And I'm also going to apologize to the viewers because, you know what? I had a rough segment, and I'm going to apologize to everybody out there.
Can you tell a little bit about Killian Tilly? Because he's someone who kind of stands out, because Ricky and I don't have him in this section.
No,
You've got him going 21.
Look at Dave being a host. I had him going in the top 20 last year, last mock draft too, going to the Jazz as well. I look at Killian Tilly. I think this kid, maybe not the same hype around Zach Collins, but Zach Collins balled out in the NCAA tournament. He's a really nice shot from the outside. Seems to be really aggressive. I really like his size. I think he could be a really good player. Might not end up going in the first round, but I think that he can be a steal in this draft because I look at his ability as an athlete. I think he's pretty fluid on the floor. As a basketball player, again, his shot is really nice, and I don't know if he's going to be able to develop into an all-around player, a starter. But I think coming off the bench on a playoff team now for the Utah Jazz, I think this kid could be something really nice. And the fact that people are sleeping on him, just want to throw his name out there.
All right.
I think it'd be a nice fit on Utah, especially if Derek Favors is leaving. So I think that could be something that, putting him at the 4, being able to stretch out, add some offense next to Rudy Gobert could be a nice addition. Again, maybe it's a little bit too high for him, but I think he is a player that could really be a nice fit on Utah. Maybe Utah gets him in the second round, but I think at that spot, looking at all of their needs, I don't think there's a player that really stands out. Maybe it would be Lonnie Walker. If Lonnie Walker was there.
You didn't say it. I was like, maybe Lonnie Walker.
Actually, yeah, Lonnie Walker is my 20. Let's just say that.
All right. Getting replaced, Killian.
Anyways.
Mock draft 20.0, Lonnie.
That's going to wrap it up for the Fast Break Podcast. We just did over 3 hours of podcasting, what it feels like.
It's going to be more. Watch out for on the channel.
We love basketball.
So don't forget to subscribe to Most Valuable Podcast and check out all of our NFL draft coverage. That's coming up all next week and the week after. It's going to be super fun. We also got a ton.
You're going to be on the Onside Kick draft week.
That's true. And we also got a ton of NBA draft coming up. We got more mock drafts, 2 more mock drafts coming out. We got 1 more big board coming out. And we're going to consistently be covering teams, who they should be taking without the, throughout the next couple of weeks. We're going to be talking about Trae Young next week going to the Bulls because of our patron, Pat Hill. So if you want to join patreon.com/mostofpodcast, head over there, join the $10 tier, and you can talk about your topics and your opinions on a podcast. But for Dave Oster, for Ricky Widmer, I'm Sean Anderson. We'll see you next time.